All right. Well, hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us this morning. My name is Kristen Diefenbach, and I'm the director for the Center for Applied Coaching and Sports Sciences within the College of Physical Activity and Sports Studies at WVU. And in conversations with Dr. Zizi, who's our new Associate Dean of Research, we were talking a little bit about ways to try to enhance the work that folks are doing in the collaboration in the college, and thought that maybe sharing a little bit about what the center is doing would be a way to begin, spark some collaboration, share what we're doing and things of that nature. So I'm going to run through just a couple of brief slides to tell you a little bit about what the center is doing, where it came from, some of that sort of information. Some of my center colleagues will be on the call, and at the end we'll give them a moment to talk a little bit about what they're doing. And then a chance for just a little bit of conversation if anybody has any questions or any interest, and then hopefully begin to spark collaborations and other opportunities as we go forward. So hopefully you can all see my screen. I shared that. And if you can't, please feel free to throw something up in the chat, or if there's any other issues, throw those in the chat as well. So the Center for Applied Coaching and Sports Sciences is basically under the premise of every person being an athlete, every athlete trained by a quality coach, and every coach enlightened by the best science and best practices. And really that's sort of our mantra as we go along, is really at the core of it, human athleticism, that everybody's got the ability to develop themselves as an athlete, but the coach is incredibly pivotal in that. And the coach is a trained professional, somebody who traditionally has gone through a lot of experience, but we're also recognizing as the sports sciences continue to evolve, that there's a lot of information that informs the practices. And I firmly believe that the coach is one of our very best ambassadors for quality, healthy lifestyles, from youth sport all the way through master's level athletes. And that we put an amazing amount on their plate and very high expectations on all the things that sport is supposed to do, which means that coaches are supposed to do it. And so that's really where my driving passion at WVU has come from, but also where this center has come from. Just to give a shout out to sort of the founding group, Dr. Rock King and Dr. Clayton Cooklick were here back in 2015, and that was the year that we put on the National Coaching Conference, which is the National Coach Developer Coach Educator Conference. It's morphed into the North American Coach Development Summit, but we hosted it in 2015. That was really the grounding of the creation of our center as well. So you can see there some of the students that took part that first year that were very, very patient as Dr. King and I worked on the documents and got everything going. We do have a mission statement, and if we're ever allowed in the building again, you can go downstairs and see it. It's in our cabinet with the board that was created this fall that has highlights about our program and some other things. But we're really trying to focus on the generation of original research in this area, the practice, or what in some in the field have been started calling the pracademics of the marriage between the best knowledge and the best practice, looking for opportunities to incubate that innovation, and particularly among our students that are doing internships, taking what they're learning and bringing it out to the field. And then at the end of the day, for me, it's incredibly important that we keep that student experience at the core of it. And you'll see some of the things that we're striving to do around that student experience piece. Just in case folks aren't as familiar, I thought it would be a good moment to just share a few things here. That the international movement around the professionalization of coaching, the International Council for Coaching Excellence, has an international sport coaching framework that really takes at the foundation the functional coach competencies and coaching knowledge that they need to have across the different fields, interpersonal, intrapersonal, and professional knowledge, and the develop of that initially, as well as the long-term ongoing, leading to those primary functions, which are the same. They vary and they work in different ways, but regardless of the context in which someone's coaching. And that is a foundation. The students in our program know that they see this probably at least once a month by the time it gets all done. And then really coming back to this idea that we're looking at how do we help with the professional development and coaching support for the field through the center, as well as the coaches directly themselves, as an extension of enhancing, and again, athlete being all athletes and performance being all aspects of performance, and being aware that there are things that we can do from a lab perspective that are formal, as well as some of the non-formal, and how best do we prepare the folks we work with for the unmediated learning, the stuff they're going to do on their own. And so again, thinking about all the ways in which the center interacts. Give a shout out to the folks that are the current faculty, myself, Dr. Ryan, who is program director for our undergrad program, our newest research line with Dr. Guy Hornsby, who works very heavily in athlete monitoring and brings in the very strong exercise physiology component, and then Dr. Valerie Wada, who is also sitting over into an associate dean position with undergraduate affairs. We also have some really great faculty associates that we've started to work with and are looking for more opportunities, so if folks are interested. Dr. Scott Barnacle is over in the sport and exercise psychology department, as is Dr. Rob. Dr. Dana Charbonneau is over with WVU Athletics and is the director of sports psychology and clinical services over there. And then some of you may remember Dr. Lindsay Hammond, who is up at Cal U and is working with us on some projects as an alumni graduate who is also a faculty at another university. And I'm hoping to shortly add Dr. Tammy Sheehy. We're working on some projects there as well, and I'm hopefully going to be adding her to our faculty associates, collaborating with other universities. And she's at Bridgewater now. And then I couldn't tell you about what the center is doing if I didn't tell you about the Beehive. The Beehive is the lab group, and they are very patient because we always have about 8,000 things going on, and they are very hardworking. I can now say Dr. Linda Bauer just passed her defense yesterday, looking at the jobs perceptions of Division I NCAA soccer coaches. So she's going to be leaving us, but hopefully we'll be sticking around to help on some different things. Christina Villalon is probably the queen bee of the lab and keeps things running smoothly, and is going into her third year as a doc student. And Maggie Roberts is actually over in the physical education teacher ed side, but has been very active in helping with the lab, particularly with some of our hands-on projects. And then Marla will become a doc student in the fall and is finishing up her master's with us. Brian Hoke, Kyle Davison, Katie McGagan, and are all master's students currently, and Antonia Bachman is one of our undergrads that's working. We do have a number of other undergrads that help in and out on small projects, and we're really grateful and to give them an opportunity to sort of see what we're doing, but also they do a lot of the basic work that's been going on. Just to highlight some of our activities, we have been for the last year and a half been producing a newsletter called Coaching Matters. Do it every couple of months and try to highlight things that students in our program are doing. It gives students an opportunity to write more pro-academic, informed articles for a youth sport coaching audience, youth sport coaching parent and coach audience. We have in the past helped out with things like the Don Nealon lectures and hope to be continued to do that. Dr. Hornsby runs the NSCA State Clinic, and we'll be shifting that around a little bit as we go forward. And currently it's been postponed because of the current situation. However, again, something that the center supports and tries to help support as we can. I didn't list it up here, but we've been working on a series of infographics, which look really nice and that we'll be starting to send out and post with just very basic information to help inform and educate coaches within the state and beyond. Last year, and I meant to pull some pictures and I apologize, I forgot. We participated with WVU football in their youth sport day and brought a number of our students to apply practice to the lab out to the field and bringing quality ADM practices to a youth sport setting, and sort of working with USA Football actually shared their program with us, and we were able to do not only a program review of that for them, but also practice some application. And we had about 20 students from undergrad and masters help out and run that day. And Brian, who I mentioned previously, is currently working on a new manual so we can run future events, pulling from a number of the NGB's sports sampling models. And then we've just kicked off a series. We did our inaugural one a couple weeks ago, and we're going to do a spring series of online programs at town halls to help support the folks of West Virginia as they think about coaching and what's going on. And our goal is to continue that series through the summer and fall, but at a much more spread out. We're sort of hitting an immediate need right now, trying to build a little bit of awareness, and then we'll move forward. So those are some of our activities. And then from a research perspective, because that is important, there's usually a lot going on, so bear with me here. But some of the big ones, the student team developed a database of all the youth sport programs in Mon County that we call Mon Play, that we're looking to build and expand upon and share back out with the community to help people understand what resources are available and help make sense of which baseball program is best for their kids and what's following best guidelines and practices. We, in this past December 4th, hosted a National Coach Education Listening Day that will hopefully become a bit of an ongoing piece. We have a couple of grants. The one I wanted to highlight right now is one with US Lacrosse. Christina is being funded on that, and we are looking at their coaching ed program and supporting through a Delphi study the work that they're currently doing. As I mentioned before, we've done a number of coaching education program reviews for USA Hockey, USA Football, US Lacrosse. We're doing again some stuff, and USTA, US Tennis Association. And basically, it's an opportunity for the students to look through and provide some feedback, and then we pull that together into a report that I oversee, and we give them some guidelines as their coaching education programs are aligning with educational principles and best practices. We are working on a national coaching report, which includes a database of over 3,000 organizations at the moment that do something with sport and coaching. That was what the students spent a lot of time on last year. We just began a collaboration with the College of Education and Human Services, and we're able to receive a small grant between the two colleges on this, where we're looking at ADs and coaches in West Virginia and their knowledge and experience with athletes from homes experience addiction issues, and how do we better support the coaches and the ADs, and the ADs being the coach developer or coach educator in that situation. And then we've got a very large project that's resulted in one publication so far, and we're now working through a very large database of looking at how the coaches talked about and portrayed in the sports psychology literature, to take a better look at exactly how we're looking at that under the premise that it's not often contextualized. So that's sort of an overview of what we're doing, and wanted to give Dr. Ryan a moment, so I'll unmute him and put him on the spot, give him a moment to talk a little bit about from a program director's perspective.
You put me on the spot in a great time because my daughter's printing out a bunch of stuff on our printer in the background. Sorry, I hope you guys can hear me. So as program director of the undergraduate side of the program, really right now, what Kristen said, talking about the series of lectures, we're trying to get out the word on the center within many of the schools, with the ADs, with the WVSAC, with some of the youth programs about what the center is doing and what we have to offer to them. I think we got some great resources, and it's really something we just kind of got to get the word out about. The other thing that we've done, particularly here in Mon County, I just got off a conversation yesterday, working to solidify a working relationship with Mon County schools, so that we can get our students and hopefully get the center into the schools. This will be through internships, and it's not a way to necessarily bypass the coaching education, but it's a way to get our students, without having to go through the WVSAC classes, to be able to get our students into the public school system and allow them to get some learning experiences, and also help and educate the coaches. So it's kind of.
Thank you. And I think it's really important to note too that one of the things we've talked about with WVSAC, I'm just going to call them WSAC, it's easier for me. But one of the things we've talked about them repeatedly over the years is, while their program of training is great for the lay person that's coming in, our students get quite a bit more, many more hours. So it's less of a circumvent and more that they've taken it through hours and hours of classroom training as opposed to a weekend course. So it's a great opportunity for our students to, and then through us, they get the support of application knowledge. Thank you, Mike. Guy, I'll go ahead and unmute you if you want to share a little bit about what you've been doing. Dr. Hornsby is, of course, like I mentioned, exercise physiology based and does a lot with our strength conditioning and our monitoring and testing technologies.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen. So for a couple of years now, I've been collaborating with a group on the medical campus with the Rockefeller Neuroscience Institute. And so they have, it's called the Human Performance Innovation Center, but I'd like to call it just a sports science lab. And over the last couple of years, we've been trying to help some of the WVU athletics teams with athlete monitoring, performance-based testing, workload, wellness questionnaire, athlete tracking type stuff. And we've been steadily, slowly growing that program. It's been a great opportunity for our students. So I would say every lab testing session I've helped run, we've had at least one of our students there. At times, it's been most of our students are the ones carrying out the testing. And so we've at this point worked with women's soccer, rowing, both varsity and novice, track and field, cross country, in the lab. And then outside of the lab, we've gotten to work with football, wrestling, and volleyball. And so we're still very, I would say, in like the preliminary stages of carving out, building a good, solid structure and process. This type of stuff, it's probably never you completely figure it out type of deal. It's always trying to create a good system and kind of learn as you go. But I actually had a 2-hour Zoom with the strength staff yesterday. Those are definitely the people that we communicate with and work with the most. And that is nice in that my background actually is really first and foremost strength and conditioning. And so we've had several students intern in strength and conditioning coaches. I think 4 in the last year. We've had several go out into the SNC world and do quite well in the last couple of years. We've had 4 get GAs in the last 2 years, and we've had 2 get full-time jobs in the last couple months. And so I think that those types of experiences are so important for our students to get the real world application to go along with the classroom.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And so with that, I will go ahead and give everybody, I'll unmute you so you have the opportunity. You can remute yourself if you want to. But if anybody has any questions or would like to know more about anything that we've sort of mentioned or anything at this point, I'll give you a sort of an opportunity to share. I'll also throw this up there. So I'll throw it up real quickly. We do have a Twitter account. We're not super good at using it yet. We do have a dedicated email for the center, and we do have a dedicated webpage.
That's it.
Okay. Go ahead. You may be muted again. Someone started to speak and got lost.
They cut me off. But he's still up here.
You back on? Katie, was that you trying to speak? Okay. Sounded like somebody was trying to speak in there and it didn't work.
I think it was Kathy Lepkovich.
Oh, okay. Oh, once people, let's see, I'll just unmute you guys and you can figure it out from there. I have no idea why they did that. So if you'd like to remute yourself, you can, but I've unmuted people if you'd like to ask a question.
Yeah, I'll ask a question.
Oh, sure, Bert.
Hey guys, yeah. Hey, are you guys centering kind of in Mon County right now with high schools, or are you kind of doing more with the university, with like you said, with coaches? I mean, is that kind of you see the kind of this expanding across the state, or kind of with specific coaches, or kind of coaching education workshops or stuff like that?
Well, I always sit at 10,000 feet, so I'm just going to say everybody. You know, world domination, right? No, just kidding. We've got already inroads into the Mon County system a bit. A lot of our students already do internships within the youth sport programs, and we're looking to try to support and formalize that a little bit more with those relationships. We've already got folks with the strength conditioning program that are out with the high schools, and how do we enhance that connection and provide a service or a value to the programs in the community so that they're getting coaches who are willing and eager and well trained as educators in that space. And so certainly we've got some stuff going on there. We have begun some preliminary talks with athletics, and we've got some things going on with WVU athletics to look for ways to help support coaches there. And eventually we'd like to, especially with the West Virginia Plays project, eventually would like to see that expand to West Virginia Plays. Not quite as in-depth as the Project Play materials that are done nationally, but something on par with this state to better understand what are the needs and what are the resources. So a little bit on a couple of fronts, especially when you look at Dr. Ryan, myself, Dr. Hornsby, and even Dr. Rob, who's over in the SEP program doing work, and Dr. Barnacle.
Okay.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. So is it kind of like, you know, maybe the undergrads are working with the master students, or the master students working with the doc students, or is that kind of how it's working also? Kind of.
Yeah. And there's something interesting too going on there, that we have an undergrad and a master's program in athletic coaching education. And those folks are studying to be coaches, right? They want the vast majority of them want to coach strength and conditioning or field coaches, something in that area. Some of my master's students, a growing number, I have several at this point, 3 or 4, and another 1 or 2 coming in next year, hopefully, as things progress, but are interested in the development of coaches and are interested in supporting. So they've begun doing some of our GA work with internships and overseeing the undergrads, so helping support their development as coaches. And most of them have coaching backgrounds, but they're less interested in coaching themselves as a primary. They want to coach, develop. And then the doctoral students we have are all interested in that upper level of the broader picture of coach development and how do we support the coaching education coach development system. So they're definitely working and teaching our GA as GAs in our program.
Awesome. No, that's great. Yeah, this is fantastic.
Guy, are you muted again? There you go. You should be good.
Just wanted to add to that. I didn't mention we have a contract with Monongalia County Schools to provide a head strength coach who's a master's student at each of the 3 high schools, and so you have the very direct coaching and providing S&C to the high school athletes, but then also we very much look at it as a program, not just we're going to provide a person to each of those weight rooms. And so I think it's a great opportunity for particularly our undergraduates to get some good experience. I really push the GAs that we have out in those places to take the mentorship they provide seriously, and it also is an opportunity to give much more guided mentorship and structured mentorship. So like if I have a student I really think is interested in being a strength coach, get them in the high school with someone that I trust and is going to give good supervision to where they can get them comfortable in the weight room and in that environment. Certainly, I think we have a long way to go with the other part, which is just coach education in general, in that that strength coach can kind of be that vessel for, really helping high school coaches look at bigger picture stuff, long-term development, and just sort of the connecting those 2 pieces, the training and the sport.
Well, that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I think if you feel there's an emphasis in Monongalia County, it's probably just because it's where we are located.
Right.
And
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here with as far as like for me with the undergraduates, to try to get those undergraduates to places they wouldn't have to travel as far. So getting them those learning experiences within a scholastic setting. But yeah, as a group, we are we would want to help with coaches across the state. So
Yeah.
dealing with some of the hopefully get into some of the coaching education within the throughout the state. We can do some things such as the series that we have with these conversations. Hopefully that's going to see the center move into more of a role where we'll have athletic directors or coaches contacting us and wanting to do some coaching education within their program, and maybe we can set stuff up such as a Zoom call, or actually put some programming together.
Yeah. And again, I know, I apologize. My West Virginia map is a little hazy, but is Mon County also include like Fairmont, Clarksburg area also? Is that, or is it, I know I'm trying to.
It's they're Fairmont and Clarksburg are in different counties. They're
Okay.
not counting. It's
Okay.
close proximity. Fairmont's
Yeah.
25, 30 minutes away. Clarksburg about 45.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's been a while since I've been back, but yeah. I got you.
Well,
Awesome.
well, and we certainly are, if anybody's got any other questions, please feel free. I did fix the mute unmute thing, so you should be able to unmute yourselves if you'd like. But I did promise folks we'd keep this at a short half hour. Like I said, we are trying to tweet. We're not very good at it yet. We do have the email address that we've set up that you can get us all through our individual emails, but we have one for the center that I have a doc student who also helps monitor it so that things don't get as lost as they sometimes do in email. And we do have a web page that one of our students, Kyle Davison, keeps up for us, which we try to keep stuff posted on, but we're always looking for opportunities to collaborate or share or bring folks in for some of these town halls as we figure out what the fall and other opportunities might be. So please feel free to reach out to us, share what you're doing, ideas, interested in being faculty associate. Probably going to host our first faculty associate meeting coming up here in May. We haven't done that in quite a while as we've been sort of rebuilding things. And I'm happy to invite people into that who are interested in being part of sort of the happenings. So alumni as well. So would love to have you. So with that, I will go ahead and conclude the sort of the brief update on the center, and thank you everybody for coming, and please help us share with other folks as you hear about projects or things that might connect or be of interest. Please always just share them with us. I firmly believe that collaborative effort is the way you have collective impact. So look forward to working with everyone. Thank you for your time today.